What's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's episode of the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, the Tutorial Boss Guapo, and with me is the man who taught Jim Cornette how to swing a racket, the one and only Rick Elzy. Rick, what's happening, brother?
I'm doing okay. You give me far too much credit for things I was not a part of. So.
Well, it's been a cool week, and things are just getting cooler. First off, I'm looking over at the chat, and I see that J-Reb is subscribed for a 20th month. J-Reb, Cameron, brother, appreciate you. Big news for J-Reb, by the way. So anybody that's listening, throw some love to J-Reb. He is headed to the hospital right now, about to become a pawpaw. So congrats to you, Cameron. Keep us posted. Can't wait to hear. Father Padge in the chat as well, saying, "Oh shit, that's Rick Elzy." Mikey's in the chat as well. Mikey, what's up, man? Glad you could join us tonight. So before we get too deep into things, let me go ahead and knock a few thank yous out of the way. I want to say thank you to Ross and the boys from Labor 12 for our intro outro music. Exciting things happening with Labor 12 right now. You can find out all about it at labor12.com, laborxii.com. We thank Joe and American Legacy for the Not Your Average merch. We got all sorts of cool stuff. You can find it on our website. Talk about that in a minute. We were talking about J-Reb. This little piece of awesomeness right here is a J-Reb original. If there's something you want to get made into a light box like this, or maybe even something cool like my little dragon here, he's kind of cool. Go head over to jrebs3dprinting.com. He can get you taken care of. HeckYeahRadio.com. Want to say thank you to TJ, Rick, everybody involved with Heck Yeah Radio. If you happen to miss one of our shows live, shame on you, first of all, for missing the show. But if it's got to happen, then you can head on over to HeckYeahRadio.com, click on the Not Your Average Mark button, and listen to an audio version of the podcast. Thank you to Blind Ambition Studios for our graphics. WrestlingSociety.com. We're in their podcast room. You can find us there as well. And of course, to the one that makes all of this work, the guy, Patrick, thank you for all that you do. One of the things he's done, if you haven't checked it out yet, is one hell of a website, notyouraverage.com. You can get bios, you can get merch, you can see a calendar, find out what we got going on, leave messages, all sorts of cool stuff. Go check it out after the podcast, notyouraverage.com. We've got Jello in the chat. Jello, what's up, brother? Glad you could be here. It's been a week, man. It's been a week in wrestling. I'm excited to talk about it. I will say this. We'll talk about SmackDown first. SmackDown threw me off just a little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a good show, and of course, you've got the return of The Rock, which is always a big deal. But there were two really good matches, potentially really good matches, that were cut for something he could have said in 5 minutes. And I don't like that. I mean, we did, however, get one of those matches back on Raw. But the other, I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way. What did you think, Rick?
I mean, when you advertise a match and then you have to pull it, if you've got a good reason to pull it, I think, you do what you got to do. Rock is a huge name. He's a member of the board. He's in it. He's deep in the weeds, and there's a lot of people out there that would tune in to a wrestling show because they heard The Rock was going to be on it.
Very true.
And I dare say that there's more people who would tune in to see The Rock than there were people who heard about advertising for matches online and got upset about it. So for me, the fact that we'll get those matches eventually, whether it's on Raw, whether it's the next week on SmackDown, if those matches are key to what's going on, you're going to get those matches regardless.
Right.
I totally understand taking the moment to try and hook some new viewers or get some returning viewers or service the lapsed fan, if you will. I don't really have a problem with it. As a matter of fact, what I think is hilarious is when the same people who bitch and moan and gripe and whine about The Rock not wrestling at Mania based on internet news site rumors are the same people who want to riot over the fact that The Rock showed up out of nowhere to cut a promo and we lost 2 matches. So pick one. What do you want? You know.
No, it's fair. My thing is, and it's not even the matches themselves. You know me, I'm a big show flow person. I like, and it just, whether it's intentional or not, and most things WWE are intentional. Let's just go ahead and throw that out there. But it feels like, okay, you've got your show together, but yeah, we're not going to do that because I'm coming in now, and I don't like it.
Well, also understand that I don't believe for 5 seconds that Rock shows up and says, all this is done, we're changing the show. I think that Rock says, hey, I'm in town. You want to do this? You want to pull the trigger on this thing we talked about? And Triple H looks around and says, yeah, let's go ahead and do that tonight.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. I worked in corporate America for the better part of the last 30 years, and I'm very much a guy who does not like 30-minute meetings that could be summed up in a 5-minute email.
Yeah.
So I completely understand. But, sitting and watching Rock kind of meander through his words until we get to the moment that makes everybody go, what's he talking about? There's a piece of me that likes that. So, whatever.
Well, and I'll give it to The Rock. He's always been one for the mic, but I think maybe we spent a little too much time in Hollywood because we keep repeating ourselves whenever we don't have a
script. Yeah. He meandered a little bit through words and said the same thing a few times. But I also think he was trying to come off as very genuine and nice and friendly and cool until, the crowd interrupted him and he had to cuss him out. And then, he had to get to that moment at the end where he's all of a sudden Al Pacino in The Devil's Advocate. It's, I mean, it is what it is, but I can tell you this, on the heels of SmackDown all weekend long, all I heard was, what the hell was that? And what are they doing?
Yeah.
So they accomplished their goal.
And we're going to talk about it. Before we do, I got to talk. Damn it, J-Rev. J-Rev gifted 5 tier 1 subs out there. So first off, Cameron, thank you, brother. That's awesome. That, however, does put us over our mark.
Well, that's what happens when you make promises.
There's going to be a poll coming out soon. Damn it. Yeah. Seriously though, J-Reb, thank you so much, brother. That's so awesome. Thank you for that. Douglas Hoke, what's the matter? Some new subscribers? Yeah, there's some new subscribers. Damn it. This is gonna get ugly real quick. No, we do love having the new subscribers, and that's really awesome that you did that, Cameron. Appreciate you. Getting back to the show, Jimmy Uso. I like what they're trying to do with him. Trying to give him that singles push as Big Jim. It's working-ish. Like, I think it's working, but I guess when you read the internet trolls and everything, you get a whole lot of, well, he's never going to be as big as Jay. Well, that's not the goal, I don't think, is to make him as big as Jay.
Well, and the thing is that they don't know that. But the same people that are talking about, oh, well, Jimmy's never going to be as big as Jay or as good as Jay or big as Jay, those are the same people who are pissed off that Jay's getting what Jay's getting.
True.
So why do we care what they think? They're there to gripe. They are there to gripe. Because the reaction in the arena people are enjoying it. And I'd rather hear reactions from the 17, 18, 19,000 people that paid than the 7% of idiots online who think they're cool because they use the word buried wrong.
Yeah, all the time with using the word wrong. I know, I agree with you on that, and I like what they're doing. And his match with Drew was a decent match. I dug it. Matter of fact, Big Jim getting the win on it. But it was, for me, it was the after the match beatdown, the verbal assault. Like Drew grabbing him, telling you mean nothing to me. Like that was something.
That is the beauty, and that's the beauty of Drew McIntyre right now. Drew McIntyre is fastly becoming one of those characters, similar to The Miz, similar to guys that they can lose as long as they've got a good narrative and the ability to speak afterwards. And it doesn't matter if Drew really wins his matches anymore, because it doesn't change the fact that Drew is feared and he's important and people know they're going to get quality work out of him. So yeah, I think it's great because he can put people over like Jimmy, who needs it, and it's not going to hurt Drew at all.
No, not even a little bit. And that's what I liked about it, was you didn't just get the match, you got the moving the story afterwards, and I thought that was great. You know what else was great? R-Truth and Louisiana Night. I absolutely loved everything about this match. From LA Knight coming out talking about, I'm not from here, but this is a good po' boy. I like it. From that to him getting R-Truth, Mello got a pinning combination. R-Truth kicked out. R-Truth got a pinning combination. Mello kicked out. And then R-Truth just laid down and started counting. Now, and everybody's talking about what is wrong with this goofball. You tell me, which is more goofball? The fact that R-Truth got beside Mello and started counting, or the fact that Mello kicked out? I'm just saying.
I'm starting to really enjoy the chemistry between Miz and Carmelo Hayes. I think they've got a lot of chemistry. I think because Mello was totally against it, but then he smiled at Miz after the match was over, and I think those two have the potential to be very fun. Oh, yeah. And I'm liking it a lot. I'm going to stay here until I get it. R-Truth's sole purpose at this point needs to be as the sole star of Pretty Deadly the Musical, where he plays every role like Eddie Murphy in the Nutty Professor movies.
Every role except for Little Jimmy. You gotta give Little Jimmy a role.
Except for Little Jimmy, which should be played by Hornswoggle if they're smart.
Looking over at the chat, and Jello saying, I love that Knight played along with Truth. I do too. I think those two together are great. Like, you've got two teams that the chemistry between each other is just awesome. And that makes for a good match.
Well, LA Knight, he's funny, but he's also serious. And so it's nice to take a serious character that has a sense of humor and have him hang out with a guy who's just completely ridiculous, as he just sells it as if it's just another day. That's a nice spot for LA Knight to be in, because, LA Knight has been one of those very polarizing characters. And when I say polarizing, I mean to fans, that they wanted the world for him the second he was LA Knight again, and they didn't get it. And then when they finally did give them the U.S. title, everybody kind of crapped on it. And now it's like, well, what do we do with it? What do we do with him? And the thing is that there's so many stars right now, you can't push him to the hilt without taking somebody else out of that place. So if you're going to use him in a way that's entertaining, that kind of keeps the character on a spinning wheel for just a little bit till something opens up and we can spin him out.
Yeah. Well, this is a good way to go about it. And the whole Mellow Dome Miz thing, that's going to be a thing, isn't it?
It's going to be a thing for a while. I really believe that they're gonna. I could see them getting a tag title run. I really could.
I could see it. I mean, they were good as a team. You know, set aside all the funny stuff, all the crazy antics. They were good as a team, and that finisher with the
Right.
skull crushing finale and the I forget what Mello calls his, but
I don't remember either.
putting them together, that was pretty cool.
I've stopped retaining the information on people's signature moves because nothing ever finishes anybody anymore. So
That's fair.
every once in a while, I'll hear one and be like, "Oh yeah, that's what that's called."
So Tiffany Stratton, I got to give it this. She looks good as champ. She does look good.
She
As
does.
she sells moves just as well as she deals them, and she proved that with Candice LeRae in her match. So
And it's yep,
it's just
very smart. Very smart to put her with align her with Trish Stratus if they're trying to make her a baby face and go with the crowd liking her, because Trish is one of the, even when they tried to make Trish a heel, it didn't really take because the crowd wanted to cheer her. So
I have hereby and officially, because Triple H is, why wouldn't he be listening? But I've hereby and officially deemed that tag team going into Elimination Chamber Trishy time. Trish Stratus, Tiffany Stratton, they are from here on out, as far as I'm concerned, they're called Trishy time. But no, it was a good match between her and Candice LeRae, and I'm telling you now, her and Charlotte at Mania is going to be fire.
We should put up a poll. We should have people say, okay, you can use the name that you just came up with. I would like them to be called Stratif Faction.
Stratif Faction. Hey, I like that too. See, now I'm going to have to put up 2 polls because one of them's going to find out what gets me beat.
Again, don't make promises that you don't want to have to keep.
Oh no, I'm gonna do it. Make no mistake about that. I'm gonna do it. But damn it, no, I am looking forward to Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. It's gonna be such a fire match.
Hopefully that's what we get. That's what I mean, I know that they've said it out loud, but I don't know. I'm not in a frame of mind where I'm ready to believe any WrestleMania match until they actually hit the ring. So
that's fair. That's fair. Pretty Deadly versus DIY, good match. Like, you're not going to get a bad match out of them. However, the Profits are the ones that come out looking dominant in this, and I think they're doing a good job of branding them that way. They're really heating up the tag team division. So
another team that has taken another set of characters that have taken a drastic turn in direction after being exposed to Karrion Kross.
Very true. I'm looking over at our chat, and apparently the guy is on it because there is a current poll. Which do you like more, Trishy time or Stratification? Get it.
That's funny.
The main event for me, probably best wrestling of the night. And I love that they keep giving us small doses, small teases of Strowman and Jacob Fatu. Because when that full match happens, holy hell. I believe Braun Strowman has an axe to grind.
I'm wondering if that's going to be a Mania match.
It very well may be. It very well may be. I really dug the Zelina Vega and Alexa Bliss video packages. Those were cool.
Yes.
They're getting so
I need to see more of those.
Yes, they're getting so good with the video packages.
Yes. Yes. More vignettes. That's a great way to get over characters and to keep them exposed without using them in the ring.
And Alexa Bliss going from hee to I'm going to kill you in 0.5 seconds is insanity. Like nobody does it better than her.
Yeah.
Like
She's good at it.
straight up from tee to die.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah,
way through that
that's good.
spectrum in like 0.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's good.
They
good.
completely cut the Liv and Raquel versus Naomi and Bianca match. However, we did get that match back in Raw. We'll talk about it shortly. And then, of course, we had The Rock and Cody. Oh, the questions.
Oh, the question.
First off, The Rock did make an awesome announcement. WrestleMania 42 live from the Superdome. Superdome? Got to make sure I'm not doing the Hogan thing here. Yeah, live from the Superdome in New Orleans. I'd hate to say Silverdome because that would be wrong. So that announcement was cool. I'm glad that he came out with that announcement. But then he called out Cody. And he says, I want you to be my champion. And Cody's like, what the hell does that mean? Which is what all of us were saying. What the hell does that mean? It really gives off the Vince McMahon corporate champion vibes. So he's like, if you are my champion, then all those things you want to do, all those things you want to get, I can make that happen for you. Trust in me for all things. So he said, I don't want to answer right now. Don't answer me now. We became friends. Our moms are friends. We're both, girl dads. We got a lot in common. I don't want you to answer right now. Answer me in Elimination Chamber. And I think that left a whole lot of questions for a whole lot of people. Oh,
yeah.
Sweet. I get to vote. You're winning, Rick.
Why? Okay.
It did leave a whole lot of questions that need to be answered. And I like that. I don't like that it took, 17 and 3/4 minutes to get there, but I do like that it left more questions than it answered because it's a good buildup.
It is.
So The Rock ends it off by saying, what I really want, what I need in my life is that. And Cody's like, wait. All of this 17 and 3/4 minutes of you bumping your gums because you want my belt? The Rock says, no. The Rock does not want your belt. The Rock wants your soul. What? So that leaves the question as, going out of SmackDown, will Cody sell his soul to the devil? And if he does, if Cody sells his soul, where will he keep his adrenaline?
Well, they'll have to have a new song. They'll have to have a new entrance theme to retcon the placement of adrenaline.
Yeah, because he can't keep it in his soul if he sells it to The Rock. I'm just saying.
No, either that or he'll take the soul with the adrenaline and Cody will be a sloth.
That's always a possibility too. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Which heels are technically usually more lazy, so that would make sense.
Well, there you go. See, it's all explained. That's all I needed. Moving into Raw, I got to say, Logan Paul and Punk, that was a great way to start the show. I dug it. I like the fact that Logan Paul is a heat machine. And not only does he get the same boos and crowd trying to boo over him that Dom gets, but he keeps it going. He don't care. So I liked it. And then Punk comes out, and of course you can't hear anything at all because of the cheers. And they go back and forth. And some of the better lines from their interaction. We are all those names you just said. We're legends. We're history makers. You're barely a flash in the pan. And
yeah, Punk took him apart in the promo. Yeah.
Punk says, I will make history and you will be history. And then my personal favorite, you're not going to be here long enough for them to figure out who you are or remember who you were.
It's nice. Although walking away from that promo, if I didn't have my own personal wants and thoughts about other things, man, that felt like we're setting up Logan Paul, CM Punk for WrestleMania. That really felt like it.
Well, there wasn't any walking away from that promo. There was running away from that promo after Logan Paul decides to slap CM Punk square across the face.
Yeah.
To the point
Yeah.
it brought blood.
Yeah.
like,
In the eye, he busted his lip. Yeah.
So that's going to get ugly.
Yeah.
The part, and Drew said something about this as well. In a video I watched, I don't remember if it was on X or TikTok or where I saw it, but Drew was talking to John Cena, but it's the same situation here. You're not in a match. You're not in a ring with me. You're locked in a cage with nowhere to go.
Nope.
So it's going to get wild in Elimination Chamber. I'm a fan anytime you put Penta in the ring. Like I love watching Penta wrestle, which we had a whole conversation about one of his moves a little bit ago. But putting him, like Pete Dunne, Ludwig Kaiser, and Penta, those three together, those boys were doing work. Like that was a clinic.
Yes. They were. They really were. That was a really, really, really good match. Penta is remarkably well pushed and booked at this point, and I mean, I dare say he's already a star.
Oh, absolutely, he's a star, and I don't think anybody saw that coming. Like I knew myself included, I knew he was going to be a star, but I didn't expect the fickle fans of the WWE to get behind him as completely and as quickly as they have.
Well, you have to remember the fans that are behind him are the ones that pay for the tickets, and they are not your typical fans online. And
True.
so they're going to give people the love that they deserve or the hate that they deserve based solely on the product that they're given. They're not going to make any other type of, crap conclusion based on what they think they know. So, I felt like Penta had a really good shot because we're not in the same era. If you go back to the end of the Monday Night Wars, Vince McMahon's trying to sell the WWF crowd WCW when he spent the last 20 years telling us how retarded everybody is down south.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't turn around and try to sell your crowd the very people that you've been telling them are not worth their time for 20 years. Triple H hasn't mentioned AEW at all.
No.
I mean, other than the flippant comment about buying the pissant company at the Hall of Fame 6
So
years
you can
ago,
fire your ass.
but other than that, they don't acknowledge them. So they leave it to the fans. And I would venture to say, based on AEW's numbers, that probably 60% or more of WWE's crowd had no idea who Penta was till he showed up.
I can go with that.
And the first time he came out with all the fire and the great music and the screens, and he went out there and showed out, they were like, "Okay, we're on board. We're good. We like this guy."
The beauty part of this is that Penta not winning this match did absolutely nothing to him.
No.
Not even
because he looked amazing. He looked amazing, and then Ludwig Kaiser took advantage of Penta's hard work.
Mm-hmm. And we've got Yellow in the chat saying that they worked that match like cuts were coming. I agree. Like they did work.
Yeah, please don't cut me.
So it looks like our poll has ended, and Stratifaction is the winner. Which is the first. Like we've never done a poll on
That's
here.
Ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's funny.
I'm still digging the interview area up in the crowd. Like I think that's cool. Mm-hmm. And that interview did exactly what it needed to do. I am hyped for Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky?
Well, it's a variation on the old interview platform that Mean Gene used to go stand on that was, in the middle of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, but it's just up above so that the background shot, we can remind everybody of how full this building is.
Yes.
So, you know, it's no, it's great. And I love that stuff. I love that stuff. The vignettes, the interviews, these are all great ways to keep people's names in the conversation without having to load the show up with enough people that we only get 3 minutes a match. So yeah, it's good.
They're doing a great job with it. um Cruz del Toro, the LWO in general, guys are looking great in the ring, probably the best shape they've ever been in their entire life.
Oh
uh
yeah, yeah.
they go up against the New Day. And again, just nuclear heat for the New Day, and it's so good. But they are still going through, and I like the fact that they're pushing them this way. They're showing that they are still the dominant force that they were, whether the crowd's behind them or not.
Yeah, and that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Um, the heel turn of the New Day has been one of the best decisions they've made in a long time, about using talent that quite honestly had gotten stale and figuring out a way to inject new life into them. And this is exactly what these guys needed. I love the fact that they were so gung ho to do it, and that they're bought in, and that they're going out there and they're delivering scathing, promos on the crowd. And I just think it's great. I love the fact that, because Kofi is such a good dude. There's so many documentaries with Kofi talking about, just all the things in his life and his family and his inspiration. And he's just a guy that you just want to love. And he has flipped on a dime, and I believe every ounce of hatred he is spewing. It's amazing.
No, they're doing good work. They're like their heel turn has been just
It's what
perfectly done.
it's a testament to what happens when the talent believes in the direction.
Yes. We had Gunther call out Tozawa, and that surprised the hell out of me. Like, after he called out Tozawa, I was expecting, as soon as he said he wanted Tozawa out there, and the whole reasoning being that he sees Tozawa as a live action cartoon character like Jey Uso, but I was expecting the absolute squash. But Tozawa did work. Like, he got out there and he gave it to Gunther for a minute.
Yeah, yeah. Well, see, the thing that I loved about it was because Gunther said, "I'm going to open the gate." And when he said that, my mom, who was watching it, she was like, "What does that mean?" And I said, "It's going to be Akira Tozawa." And she was like, "How do you know?" And I said, "Because he was from Dragon Gate, and that's what they used to say. They were going to open the gate." And so, boom, here he comes. And she was like, "I hate watching shows with you." She was, but yeah, I knew that he was going to give Tozawa those moments, because he respects the guy, and he was a fan of Dragon Gate, and he said that in interviews. And so I love the fact that he was able to give back a little bit, because even though Tozawa lost and he got murdered, Tozawa looks so much better coming out of that than he has in months.
Oh, yeah. And man, oh man, can that dude sell?
Oh yeah.
Like, there was a kick that he sold the hell out of.
If they keep doing the Tozawa thing, and let him get a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and then let him maybe be the last qualifier for a multi-man match for the Intercontinental title or something at Mania, and he was to pull that out. Can you imagine the pop of that stadium? Can you imagine that?
I always expect that they're gonna, at some point, they're gonna move him to kind of a Tajiri style. Like,
Why
and
not?
I'd love it if they did.
Oh yeah, yeah. Can you imagine if he was to get infected by Karrion Kross, and then eventually we had a Tozawa versus Nakamura match where both of them are the Great Muta and Tajiri?
Oh, you know how great that would be. Jello in the chat saying Tozawa is one of the greatest squash workers ever.
He's amazing.
He
And
is.
that's
He's
the thing
awesome.
is that he's good at the squash, but there's footage out there. If you go seek it out, Tozawa can go.
Oh yeah,
And if you go
he
find
reminded people of that on
it's
that match.
amazing, dude. And that was like a smidgen of what he's capable of.
Well, and I'm hoping they give him more work because that was awesome. Of course, Jay comes out. We got the beat down happening. Jay comes out and runs Gunther off.
Yep.
Got to talk about the interview. And I think this happened at SmackDown, and I didn't say anything about it, but there was the interview with Kevin Owens.
Oh yes, yes.
Kevin,
KO.
they start talking about Kevin Owens. Say you got your match, you got what you wanted. You want to be in a match that's unsanctioned. You could end my career, and you know what that would that would hurt my family. But that's what you want to do. But what about you? What if it's your career? What about your family? As he moves his phone over to look in the window of Sami Zayn's house,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this had Austin Pillman written all over it.
It did, but I'm so glad they left it at that and didn't do a home invasion. Because the thing is that it's so much more frightening and unsettling to know he was there and did nothing. And that's the one thing I kind of wish they'd have done with Sammy on Raw when they did his sit down. I wish that he had addressed that interview and that they would have said something in the line of, I can't believe that you were outside of my house. I mean, that's the only thing I felt was missing from the Sammy stuff.
Oh, and for me, that segment where Kevin's at his house is the sweet spot between Austin Pillman and DDP Taker. Like it's that spot right in the middle where you need to be.
Yeah.
So I thought that was great. These two are going to kill each other Saturday. That's all there is to it.
That to me,
unsanctioned match. Which
I love it. I love that we're going to get it. I'm even more intrigued to find out where we're going to go from this because it's unsanctioned. I could very well see it ending in a schmoz.
Yeah.
And then going on to Mania and doing something bigger. But at the same time, you've had Sammy and Karrion back and forth. You've got the Randy Orton thing hanging out here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that you could have two other matches at Mania that don't involve KO and Sammy going head to head. But at the same time, they headlined Mania 2 years ago and won the tag team titles. Could you imagine Hell in a Cell night one of KO and Sammy?
That'd be wild.
Can you imagine that?
That would be wild. So I'm interested to see where they go with it. I just know Saturday they're going to kill each other, and I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Lyra Valkyria versus Dakota Kai. Every bit a PLE level match.
Yes.
Those ladies tore it up. Like they get it done in the ring. That's all there is to that.
Can I say something that's potentially unpopular?
Sure.
I could give 5 craps about Dakota Kai. and I'll tell you why. I think that she's entirely unbelievable as a badass. And I know that they try very hard to make her, this credible person. I've never been a fan, really, of her work outside of her tag team with Tegan Nox when they were Team Kick. Mm-hmm. But I will say this, that match on Monday versus Valkyria was probably my favorite Dakota Kai match of her entire career.
It was really, really good. And I love that it doesn't matter which show you're watching of the 3 of them, whether including NXT. the women's division absolutely crush it in every single show.
There is absolutely no reason at this point in my mind why WWE doesn't do an Evolution 2, or why we don't have at least a 1 hour all women's special event maybe once a month. Because
I'll be there
the
for it.
women's division across the platform of WWE is absolutely phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't have said it better.
And I think NXT, quite frankly, of the three, has the best women's division there is.
Yes.
But
No
that's
question.
saying something, because the Raw and SmackDown women's divisions are nothing to slough about. I mean, it's the division across the board is just next level. It's next level.
It is. And I think that's why I enjoy matches like Lyra and Dakota Kai and Tiffy and Candice LeRae, because it doesn't have to be Rhea versus Charlotte in order to be a good match. And that's I think that's what I like most about it.
Yeah.
I do need to point out, we said earlier that nothing is coincidental in a Paul Levesque era. So we're in the Judgment Day clubhouse. They're talking trash back and forth to one another before Liv and Raquel come in, are Finn and Dom. I couldn't help but notice that right above Finn was a box with the demon on
it. Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that.
Maybe it's just hope on my side. That's the reason I saw it, but I'm hoping.
I kind of wonder, though, if we're going to do that with Finn's recent attitude and the way things are going with Judgment Day. Do we go ahead and have Dom disobey him and add new members, or a member or members? I don't know. And then eventually we have like a group beatdown on Finn, and then the demon comes back as an avenging angel to take out the Judgment Day. Like,
that's the way I'd write it.
How do we do it? Because to me, it's like the people are going to want to cheer the demon.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, there's really nothing about Finn that makes me want to cheer.
No, that's exactly how I'd write it. Is they bring in some new blood. It goes to it's full circle what they did to Edge.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I think that's what it has to be.
So I would love to see that. We've got Jello in the chat says 2-day event in Saudi. Day 1 Crown Jewel, day 2 Evolution. While they've come a long way in Saudi, I don't know that they would do a full-on women's pay-per-view.
Yeah, I love the fact that Saudi is having more women's matches. I do not need Evolution 2 in Saudi Arabia. I don't know. If they're not going to do Evolution 2 in America, you do it in England.
Fair.
Because England will crap themselves over it.
Maybe in Wembley.
Would that be hilarious to do Evolution 2 in Wembley just to see if we can break Tony Khan's record with women? With women, the one thing on his show he doesn't book well.
I have zero doubt in my mind, if you took women from all across the platform of WWE and put a PLE together in Wembley, that you would sell that sumbitch out.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if you saw it today, but AEW is not renewing the contract of Layla Hirsch. And I would like for somebody to start hashtag Layla Hirsch to NXT.
Yes.
Because, man, that chick, she's good. And they slept on her for a long time. And I would die to see Layla Hirsch versus Jordan Grace. Can you imagine, dude?
Man, what a match. Mikey in the chat saying Dom versus Finn at WrestleMania for control of the Judgment Day. See, when I first read that, he said control of the JD, and I was thinking, McDonough on a pole match.
Okay. I need that. And I need that. But no, seriously, look, okay, I'm all about that. Dom versus Finn, but here's the thing. We have to add a new member, and it needs to probably be Rusev because Rusev is the Redeemer. And if they go with, I mean, I don't know if they're going to bring him in as Miro or if he's going to be Rusev, but they need to keep that Redeemer character because the Redeemer was awesome.
Yeah.
And it fits with Judgment Day because he's arguing with God, So if they bring in the Redeemer and he's like the new big guy and they kick Finn to the curb, and then maybe we do Dom versus Finn, or maybe we do Miro versus Finn. But one way or the other, whatever match Finn has at Mania on the heels of that beatdown, that needs to be the return of the demon because the place will lose their mind.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's me. I'm the place. Because I will lose my mind.
Yeah.
Talking about Dom, Braun Breaker versus Dominic Mysterio was crazy. Braun Breaker absolutely ragdolled Dom, and I was here for it. I loved every minute of it. That was great.
Oh, you're lucky I didn't just spit drink out of my nose and everything. I was in the middle of a drink and you were all like, Braun Breaker or Dominic Mysterio. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, that was great. I'm going to, here's my only critique where Braun Breaker is concerned. I'm going to need him to settle on whether or not he's a good guy or a bad guy. I'm going to... he's been bouncing back and forth a lot, and I don't generally mind that, but it's hard for me to decide kind of what direction they're going with him or whether I need to get excited or not, because one week he's facing a heel and the next week he's facing a baby face, and it's like it makes me think we're gonna get a multi-man match for the Intercontinental title at Mania that's going to be filled with equal heels and faces. But I'm just going to need them to come to a decision on what they want me to do about Braun Breaker. Do I need to cheer him or not?
Well, and I think they're trying to put him in that, I don't want to say tweener, but that Austin, I'm just going to kick everybody's ass kind of.
Then I'm gonna need a promo that says that.
That's fair.
I'm gonna need him to cut a promo where he says, I don't care who you are, I don't like anybody, and I'm just gonna kill everyone. That way I can, in my mind, I can come to an agreement that he's not white, he's not black, he's gray. Fair.
Very fair. I will say this about Breaker. His I don't know, is he calling it the Steiner line?
I don't think he does. I think the announcers bounce back and forth between using Steinerized stuff, but I don't think that he's called anything a Steiner anything.
Well, his move off the top rope is probably one of the best moves. Like, the man runs up the turnbuckles, and that's insanity to me. A Breakensteiner. That's what they call it. They call it a Breakensteiner.
Breakensteiners. Then that's fun. I like that. That's fun. But no, the guy is a freak. He is a genetic, athletic freak.
Mm-hmm. No, that was his uncle. His uncle was a genetic freak.
Well, I said genetic, athletic freak.
Okay.
Scott Steiner was never an athlete one day in his freaking life outside of amateur wrestling. That dude just stood there and posed. And then when he was doing Frankensteiners, he broke people's necks for no reason. But for me, Breaker, and this may be, I don't know if I'm reaching when I say this or if people are going to be like, what are you talking about? I think he is the most gifted natural athlete they've ever signed.
I'll go with you on that.
And I'll put
Absolutely.
that over Angle and Lesnar.
The only person that I would put same level would probably be Chad Gable.
I won't say that you're wrong. I will say that I don't think Gable has realized for me the level of athleticism that Breaker has. I think
That's fair.
Gable is 100% a mat guy and he is a damn good wrestler. I don't know that I would consider Gable the athlete that Breaker is.
Well, he damn sure doesn't run the rope at 23 miles an hour.
I think Breaker is the greatest male athlete, and I think that Bianca Belair is the greatest female athlete.
I'll go with you on that. Looking over at the chat, Jello saying Dom will get kicked from Judgment Day, find himself alone, and go to the only place he can, to his father. And I do believe we get that. I think that they turn on Finn first. So we've gone full circle back to they kick him out the same way they kicked out Edge. But I also think it circles right back to where Finn takes it back over and Dom becomes the sacrifice.
And I don't think that I don't think that's a bad idea. What I do think is they have to be very careful about how they do that, because if they're ever going to reunite Dom and Ray, it can't be Dom crawling back to Ray.
No.
It has, because Dom has been righteous in his belief that he is right. It has to be Ray coming to Dom's aid and forgiving his son for his misgivings.
And it can't be right away. It's got, in my mind,
it's got to be over
Ray
time.
coming. Ray comes out,
Yeah.
saves Dom, looks at him, and leaves. Doesn't say
Yes.
a word.
They can't hug or come back together until whatever trigger you have to finally pull. But it can't. But any resolution between Dominic and Ray has to be the father's forgiveness, followed by the son's redemption. It can't be the son crawling back to the father he called a deadbeat.
Yes, I agree. With the Braun Breaker Dominic thing, the cherry on top for me was the face to face between Braun and Finn Balor.
Mm-hmm. It was nice.
Like that was two pit bulls just eyeballing each other right there. I was like, ooh, this is gonna get ugly. So that bodes well for me. I think that's gonna turn into something, and I hope that it does. The Seth Cody segment. I thought that was really, really good.
Favorite segment of the night.
Yeah.
For me.
Because, and I gotta give Seth this. I mean both of them actually. Seth comes out with, full of piss and vinegar saying, what are you doing? What are you thinking? You're doing this and you're doing that. I don't even know who you are. And Cody just stops him and says, well, I know who you are. You ended the Shield with a chair shot to the back. So yeah, I know who you are. You did this and I know who you are. So maybe maybe I don't trust you, but you're also the guy that did this and did this. And Seth just had that look like, well, damn.
Okay, look, and I have to say this here because this is the perfect place for it. My favorite piece, absolute favorite piece of where we are in WWE right now in the Triple H era of booking. I love how truthful all of the baby faces are to call each other's bullshit out.
Yes.
I love it. Because for so long, the rule of thumb was baby faces get a free pass for all of their crap. And I absolutely love that every single baby face on the roster has no problem telling another baby face that they're wrong.
No,
and I love it.
That is my favorite
piece. That is my favorite piece of Triple H's psychology and booking.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. We go from that to the women's tag team match, which was absolutely outstanding.
Dude, did you count the number of false finishes?
It's like had to have been at least 8.
Dude, I don't know exactly how many there were. I want to go back and count them, but I think it might have been on par with the number of false finishes that there was with Steamboat Savage at WrestleMania 3.
Oh,
It was crazy.
it was.
Absolutely crazy.
It's been a long time since I watched a match and found myself going, "Oh, damn it! Oh, damn it!" And that match did that for me.
I wish I had live streamed my mother's reaction to the match because every single time there was a pinfall, she was convinced that was the end.
That
She
was the
was
one.
absolutely convinced. And every time it wasn't, she uttered a cuss word that I didn't know my mother was capable of. So
Well,
it was amazing.
Kudos to Triple H on one thing about that. In the past, before we moved to Netflix, you could see a pin start to happen. You could kind of glance over the clock and say, "Oh, we still have 4 minutes. That's not going to be it. They're nowhere near done." You can't do that anymore.
No, because we don't know if the show's going to be 2.5 hours, if it's going to be 2 hours and 45 minutes, it's going to be 3 hours, or it's going to be 3 hours and 15. We don't know.
So yeah,
And that's the
you've taken that
beautiful
whole
part.
element away.
If this is the last match, and we know it's the last match, you absolutely cannot time this down anymore, and it's amazing.
No, I love it. I'm so happy about it. Of course, with all the false finishes, in the end, it does come down to new and 3-time WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Liv and Raquel.
Yeah.
And I feel like that had to be done. You have to take the belts off of Bianca and Naomi because they're going to go against each other and eliminate. Like, there's no chance we don't get some portion of Elimination Chamber where they face off against each other.
Even though I don't think there's a lot of meat on the bone for it, and I know that they're going to have time to add meat to the bone, I feel like the fact that we did this, I think it telegraphs that we're getting Rhea at WrestleMania. Because to me, nobody else in that chamber means as much against Rhea Ripley as Bianca Belair would. It's not going to be Bayley 2 years in a row. It isn't going to be Alexa Bliss. She's too new back, and there's nothing there between her and Rhea. It isn't going to be Roxanne. It's too soon. I mean, to me, it ain't going to be Naomi. As much as I love Naomi, it's not going to be. To me, there's only one choice now, and to me, it's blatantly obvious it's Bianca Belair. I don't see how it's not. And I don't think that we get Jade Cargill's return until that match, and I think she cost Bianca the match.
Very possibly. So that's our main roster moments. I think both shows were great this week. Raw did exactly what it needed to do as far as the go home Raw for Elimination Chamber. I'm interested to see what happens on SmackDown tomorrow. I know we get Chelsea Green in a match against who knows. Nick Aldis wouldn't tell her who it is.
I love Chelsea Green so much. She's so funny, and
She is one of my favorites.
She is. She's just another level of entertainment, and I love that it could be anybody, it could be anyone, and it's still going to be probably the most entertaining segment of the night because Chelsea is second level good stuff.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to do a little bit of big news before we do. Want to throw it out there. If you haven't done it already, click all the things. Go to the socials, click the bells, the whistles, the subscribes, all the things. Click all the things. It helps us out. I'm looking at the chat. Jello saying, did they take the belts off Bianca and Naomi so they can become enemies at Elimination Chamber? I think so, yes.
Possible. But we still need to find out what happened with Jade.
I think we get that Monday.
I am still of the belief that Naomi and Bianca did this to her on purpose. I'll say if you go back and you watch and you look, Bianca Belair's demeanor, appearance, reactions in the ring, she has become far more deliberate and, dare I say, slightly heelish in the last month and a half.
Oh, yeah. Well,
And I think that's on purpose because they're preparing people for the moment that Jade's music hits and Naomi and Bianca look at each other like, oh shit, we're done.
we're toast.
Yeah.
So, big news. Matt and Jeff, the Hardy Boys, show up on NXT with their
Dude.
original Death from Above music.
Ah. Oh, with WWE merch.
Yep, wearing WWE shirts.
Is that a first? Is that a first that a team that is signed to another promotion has merch in two companies?
It may be. It may actually
That's
be.
ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And I'm not even a huge fan of the Hardys, but like, you can't help but get excited. I mean, that's pretty big stuff.
It is. And they have another match coming up, which I'll talk about in just a minute. Actually, we'll go ahead and talk about it now because half of what I need to happen is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And let me explain that. The Hardy Boys and Fraxium will have a match in 2 weeks at Madison Square Garden. And I think it's great. And how did we find out that they'll have a match? Santino Morella came out.
Did you see him get emotional? Did you see him get emotional?
I did. And what's the first thing he said? I was backstage talking to Ava.
Yeah.
What did I tell you? They're going to start talking, and John Cena's going to walk through, and I'm going to get my damn John Cena. It's going to happen.
He called Fraxium Fraction, and he called the Hard Boys the Hard Boys.
Yeah, Fraction and the Hard Boys.
Dude.
It was so good.
I'm telling you right now, if there's one thing that I think should happen, and I don't know how they can't, like, get the proper people to the table with the working relationship we have right now. How do we not have John Cena on TNA against Joe Hendry?
Oh, it'll happen. Give it time. That's going to happen.
And if we get that, that's where you're going to hear Santino Morella call him John Cena. It's going to happen.
You came to my show, John Cena. I need it in my life. I can't explain it. I just need it in my life. It's got to happen. The last thing we'll talk about is Ricky Saint.
Oh, yeah.
Ricky Saint makes his debut, and you may be thinking to yourself if you didn't watch it, Guapo, who's Ricky Saint? That's Ricky Starks. Yes. Ricky Starks killing it on NXT.
Yes. He had a remixed version of his AEW music.
Mm-hmm.
He chose Saints because of New Orleans, and it's close to his heart, so he chose that to use for his new moniker. And I mean, just first and foremost, for anybody that may be saying, well, how come some people get to keep their names and some people get to get their names changed? Most of what that boils down to is trademark.
Yep.
Whether a talent is willing to allow WWE to trademark their name, or whether they want to retain their name for their own personal use. AJ Styles had no problem allowing WWE to trademark AJ Styles. Ricky Starks may very well have had an issue using Ricky Starks.
Or it may have been trademarked by AEW.
Yeah, I mean, so, it doesn't matter. The point is, the guy's there. He had his debut match. They killed it. He made it a great first impression. And he's already means more than he has in the last 2 years.
And why is that? And I hope the guy is paying attention because it's that time. The reason he was on NXT will be talked all about in our next segment, which is Notes from the Clown Show.
Yes.
How do you let Ricky Starks leave AEW and go to NXT? How do you do it?
Did you hear the chants during the match of Tony fumbled?
Tony fumbled. He fumbled the bag. Absolutely, he did. Like, how clown do you have to be to let Cody Rhodes, Jade Cargill, Ricky Starks,
Sean Spears,
Sean
Lexus
Spears,
King,
yep.
Stephanie Vaquer. I mean, Ethan Page. Dude, it's insanity.
But it's okay because they have Cope.
And Alistair Black is coming. Rusev is coming.
Yep.
I mean, I could look, that's 9. And I can guarantee you, it may not be till near the end of the year, but I'm telling you, that 10th guy, when WWE in whatever form they have gets their hands on Wardlow, watch out.
Well, and Mikey makes a good point in the chat. They've already had the 10th guy. That'd be CM Punk.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so then Wardlow would be number 11.
And number 12 very well may be Britt Baker.
Oh, I would love that so much. Like, and Layla Hurd, holy shit, that'd be 13.
Tony, what the hell, bro?
That look, and here I'm going to give Tony, I'm going to give him one small slice of grace.
Okay.
When you go out and in a period of a year and a half sign 250 people, and you have 2 hours of television on a Wednesday, 2 hours of television on a Friday, and 2 hours of television on a Saturday, and out of those 6 hours of television, you showcase the same 22 people most of the time. Yep. At some point, people are going to be slipping through the cracks, and you're going to fumble people all across the board. So maybe instead of going out and collecting action figures, just use the toys you have.
You know? Note number 2 from the Clown Show. MJF, arguably their biggest star at one point, yeah?
At one point.
Says he's done believing in AEW. He believes in himself now. And the biggest thing to happen last year was him to get the all-in tattoo, which he has now had removed.
Is there anybody out there who honestly believed that that was a real tattoo anyway? Because I don't think it was.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It looked like it when I was a teenager and went to a buddy's house and he had a prison gun that he made off of an ink pen and a bristle from a wire brush. It looked like it got done with something like that. So no, I don't think it was real.
I think, look, I said, and you could ask TJ, I'm sure that it's out there somewhere in the ether. Right before Cody Rhodes left, I said AEW, in my mind, had made 5 stars at that moment, or people that could be impending stars. And I said on the air several weeks in a row on Ringside that these 5 people would end up in WWE within 5 years. Now, how long has Cody been there? Since 38?
Yep.
So he's what, 4 years in?
Yeah. 3 years in?
Okay. The 5 people that I said were Cody Rhodes, Jade Cargill, Ricky Starks, Wardlow, and MJF.
You're 3 for 5.
And I'm 3 for 5, and I bet you by the end of the year I'm 4 for 5.
Yep, and I bet in a couple of years you'll be 5 for 5.
And I may not make that 5-year mark. It may be 6 or 7. But, dude, those 5 people, right before Cody left, those were the people that were making an impact on television. And you could call them all homegrown people with the exception of CM Punk. Because Ricky Starks had come from the NWA, nobody was watching. Wardlow had come from the indie scene. MJF had come from MLW. And Jade Cargill had come from obscurity. So they were all homegrown people.
I agree.
And now look at what's happening.
They're all jumping ship. And Jello says in the chat that reports are AEW talent is very frustrated that Tony does not have production meetings before events. And I agree with Mikey on that. That tracks.
Production meetings are very important.
They are, in fact. All right. Note from the Clown Show next one. Undisputed Kingdom versus FTR and Daniel Garcia. We're done with rated FTR. You make this whole big deal to be rated FTR because it sounds so much like something they do on WWE, and we got it now, and now we're not doing it anymore.
Have you ever seen the little video that sometimes circulates on YouTube where it's the 20th Century Fox logo and music, but it's played on a kazoo and it's all like, and as it turns, it says, "I don't give a fuck."
Uh-huh.
That is how I feel about that match you just said.
Oh, no, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. It was dumb. Rated FTR, if you're going to do it and make it a trios match. But what? Oh. Note from the Clown Show last one. The whole Australia thing. What? Okay. Bad booking is one thing. But to bill a show as a pay-per-view, bill it in a big arena, then change venues to something small, still charge big arena prices, and then be like, oh, by the way, it's not a pay-per-view, it's just Collision. What the hell?
Dude, people in Australia were pissed. When Tony Khan came out on the tapings, he got booed.
I got to agree with...
You can go back and watch the footage. It's on YouTube. He's getting booed out of the building.
As well he should be. I agree with Jello. He said, what an effing disaster.
They charged premium prices for a PLE level ticket that ended up being a taping of the #2 show. Can you imagine if WWE charged WrestleMania level tickets for main event? That's just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
And why does all this happen? Because Tony Khan is a clown, and this has been Notes from the Clown Show. So we've gone through the whole show. It's time to get into it. It is time for Elimination Chamber predictions. I need yours. I want to hear from everybody in the chat what yours are. We're going to start with the men's Elimination Chamber. Your participants: Seth freaking Rollins, John Cena, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, Damian Priest, and CM Punk.
To me, it's either Cena or Punk.
Okay.
I don't see anybody but Cena or Punk. And if I figure The Rock tease with Cody about the soul into my thought process, as much as I think it would be fun to see heel Cena become the I sold my soul to The Rock evil heel champion in his final year, I feel like that spot, other than Cody, only belongs to Punk, because Punk is the one who said, "I will stab you in the face." So I feel like, as much as I think Cena needs that big match at Mania, my brain tells me it's Punk. My heart says Cena.
I get that. Eska 1981 saying John Cena is going to be the one that gets it. You're going to win the Elimination Chamber, John Cena. I too am going for Cena because I do think we do get. This is going to play out to where right into the just towards the end of the match, in my opinion, this plays out to where towards the end of the match at Mania between Cena and Cody, The Rock's gonna try to hand a chair to Cody, tell him just do it, do it. He's Cena's gonna grab it and snatch it away. Like, what the hell are you doing? Don't get involved in my match. Cena's gonna grin at The Rock. The Rock's gonna grin at Cena. Cena's gonna nail Cody, and we, for the first time in what 22, 23, 26, however many years, we get heel Cena, and he picks up number 17 as a heel.
And I don't hate it. I just can't wrap my brain around it.
I get you. I get you. All right, let's look at the women's chamber. Your participants: Bianca Belair, Naomi, Bayley, Roxanne Perez, Liv Morgan, and Alexa Bliss.
I think Bayley and Roxanne Perez are going to Mania. I don't know what they're doing with Alexa and Liv. I don't think it's Naomi. I just feel like it's going to be Bianca.
See, I feel like that is a definite possibility, but I
The
personally,
only other person, it might be Alexa. Maybe Alexa, but they'd have to do some real work to get to Alexa Rhea.
that's fair. But I think we've got Camino in the chat saying 18-time champ, the Dr. Thugonomics is here. There we go. My pick on this is 100% Alexa Bliss. And this is going to be very unpopular when I say this, but I don't care. It's my show. I can say unpopular things if I want to. I don't think we're getting Alexa Bliss Rhea at Mania. I think we're getting Alexa Bliss Io Sky. I think something happens to where Rhea on Monday, Rhea's going to lose that match to Io Sky, and Io Sky is going to go into WrestleMania as the champ.
Well, that is definitely an interesting possibility. That would make me want to know, if that's the case, what the hell are we going to do with Rhea at Mania?
Oh, I bet we can find something. I mean, I wouldn't be against the idea of Rhea Jade.
I mean, you want to talk about flipping the script. Good Lord. That's an interesting prospect. I'm actually pretty intrigued by that.
I'm hoping it goes down like that. All right, next up we have what was it? Stratif faction. We have Trishy Time versus Nia and Candice LeRae.
How does Trish and Tiffany not win that match?
That's kind of where I'm at. They have to win that match.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't do anything for Nia and Candice to win that match.
No, it should. The only thing that I could see in this, and that's just because it is so cut and dry, there's no way these people don't lose, is somebody's going to show up and do something. We're going to get a return.
It'd have to be, it'd have to be some crazy overbooked stuff. But I don't know. I just feel like it's an easy win for Tiffany. It's a nice spot for Trish. It's Canada. It's a send the crowd home happy match.
And last but not least, KO versus Sammy in an unsanctioned match.
See, I think this is the hardest one.
Yeah.
Because, you could have a definitive winner, but it's non-sanctioned. Usually most non-sanctioned matches end in schmozzes, and we've still got Mania. Are we going to get to something bigger with KO and Sammy? Are we going to get to Hell in a Cell? Or are we going to get past this and go to KO Randy Orton and Karrion Kross Sami Zayn based on television? So I don't know. This one to me is the hardest one. I feel like it had, for the story, it almost has to be Sammy. Like maybe going to an extreme that he's not proud of. Which
would fall right in line with Karrion Kross. For me, the winner of this match is us. The
Yeah.
crowd, the people watching this match are the winners of this match.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's going to be an amazing match. Any dude, and people can say all that, KO and Sammy have had all these matches over the years. Here's the thing: Dusty and Flair had 1,000 matches. Okay.
Mhm.
Savage and Hogan had 1,000 matches. Cena and Randy have had 1,000 matches. It doesn't matter if the matches are always good.
That's right.
And Sammy and KO have a very long history of having phenomenal matches.
That's 100%. Now, the very last question, the big question on everybody's mind. Does Cody sell his soul? Does he tell The Rock yes? Does he tell The Rock no?
I think we get the Hogan DiBiase moment. I think we get the moment. If you remember back when DiBiase offered Hogan $1 million for the WWF Championship, Hogan stood on that podium with Greg DeGeorge and he took off the belt. He had it in his hands and he talked about all the money that he could spend on the Hulkamaniacs and helping people out and making life better for people who didn't have anything and all that stuff. And then he was like, so I have to tell the $1 million man, hell no. I mean, I think that's the moment we get. I think that's what we get, which is so funny because if you go back and look at that, he talked about all the good shit he could do for people who needed it and then selfishly said no.
And then said, hell no, I ain't doing that.
Which is classic Hogan.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Cody doesn't sell his soul. I don't think it happens. I think we get it. I think we do get that moment. We get the, I could have this and I could have this and I could have this, but screw you, no.
No.
And I think Elimination Chamber is going to be nice. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. If you have not yet, make sure you set your calendar because we will be live streaming a watch along for Elimination Chamber on Saturday. So make sure you set your calendar for that. Will not be doing it from here at NIAM HQ though. We'll actually be doing it from our super secret base in Canyon.
From the secret bunker?
Yeah, we'll be in the secret bunker. It's going to be a good time. I hope everybody gets the opportunity to watch it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope to see everybody in the watch along because I have so much fun with that. I love talking to you guys. We've come to that 9:28 mark, so I will turn it over to you, Rick. Anything you want to say to the people watching, people listening? The floor is yours, my friend.
Hey, guys, we're living in a very cool time right now. WWE is clicking on all cylinders. NXT and TNA are having an amazing working relationship. If you are not watching TNA and NXT right now, you are missing out. Because though there are TNA stars on NXT, there are NXT stars on TNA. It is everything you've ever wanted in an interpromotional relationship. And when we get to Roadblock, which is in the theater at Madison Square Garden next week, we've got Oba Femi versus Moose, Fraxium versus the Hardys, Stephanie Vaquer versus Julia. Like, what are you doing? If you're not watching NXT, what are you doing?
Well, and Jello makes a good point about that. One of the greatest things this week from NXT is Jordan Grace saying everyone has a plan until, and then punching Roxanne in the face.
And the one thing I want from Roadblock, I don't know that I'll get it, but what I'd really like to do, I'd like to start the night with the girls and have a spot where they work themselves over around the announce table and accidentally hurt whoever, Alicia Taylor, whoever, or no, it's Mike Rome is the ring announcer for NXT. Hurt Mike Rome, but get him out. Have Santino Marella take over as the ring announcer so everyone's name is wrong.
Yes, 100%. You can't say things like that because now I need that.
Yes.
We are definitely living in a great time to be a wrestling fan. So many good things happening, and then AEW is happening too. But I want AEW to do well. I just need Tony Khan to go away.
Well, that's only going to happen if Shad Khan decides to say, no more money for you, or if Warner Discovery says, no more money for you.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Other than that, it's going to be Tony Khan's show. So
Well,
if you'd like
I
to
don't.
know how this is all going to end, if you'd like to know how this is all going to end, go watch the Dark Side of the Ring episode on Herb Abrams. That's how this is all going to end.
See, you've got homework now. Everybody watching, everybody listening, you've got homework. Jello says ringside with Wrestling Rick and Mr. NL. Guys, let me know when the next episode is.
As soon as TJ can get the schedule down, we'll be doing it. And whenever we come back, you're absolutely invited.
Well, and I'll be there with bells on, or at least pants. 100% pants. I don't know that
You
I have
can
any
wear
bells.
pants and bells. You can
I
wear pants.
don't know if I have bells, but I can guarantee pants. I do. I enjoy this so much. And to everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening, thank you for allowing me a platform where I can do this. I enjoy every minute of it. I enjoy talking to you, Rick. I enjoy talking to the people in the chat. I enjoy all the guests we have on, whether it's Mike or it's some of the talent. I enjoy this, and you guys are the reason I can do it. And I want to thank everybody for that. Rick, of course, thank you for being on the show tonight. It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime you need me, I'm ready to do it.
Well, we will be back next Thursday to talk BCW Separate Ways coming up March the 8th. We're getting into that time where it's time to rock and roll with some West Texas independent wrestling. So make sure you're picking up tickets for that. If you're anywhere in this area, BCW Squared Circle Pro, March is going to be the time for that. It's going to be, is it 22nd? I know March 8th is BCW Separate Ways, and I believe it's the 22nd is Spring Break, the literal version.
That's
killer
correct.
shows all the way around. Make sure you pick up your tickets for them. Once again, for my boy J-Reb Cameron, congratulations on becoming a pawpaw. It's a fun club. You're going to love it. That about does it. That's going to do it for us tonight. Again, thank everybody for being here. And Rick, once again, great show tonight. So with that being said, I'm Guapo. That's Rick Elzy. We're not your average marks. See y'all next Thursday. Yeah.